Hi, this is Mario Andretti, and this is Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back. Fun Sunday night talking Formula One, and we're going to stay on that theme sort of because it's Andretti Global that we're going to talk about. And of course, they're trying to get into Formula One still. And the headline read, Michael Andretti stepping down. Dun, dun, dun. And, that would have been...
No, that's Casey's job.
That's true. That is Casey's job. There you go.
There you go.
So, yes, thank you, Casey. But that would have been huge, right? If Michael Andretti had been just walking away, I would have, that's why when I first saw it, I thought, okay, I'm ignoring this. This is not even a real story. But it turns out that there's been a statement put out by Andretti Global that this is a real story, isn't it?
Yeah, and when I first read it, I was kind of like gobsmacked because Michael has been so forthright in running Andretti Global and making it the empire that it is. The investment that they've had in the last 5 years with building a $250 million, new place, having 160 people already in a factory in the UK, basically getting ready for Formula One.
Not to mention everything else they're doing. IndyCar,
Formula E, Extreme E, etc., etc. But what amazed me was stepping down now just felt wrong because he hasn't fulfilled the Formula One dream. He hasn't fulfilled. But then when you look into it, all of that money came from Cambridge.
Right. So let me read this statement. This is a statement provided by Andretti Global that suggests he's not going to hand over the reins. It says, Michael's goal has been to transition to a more strategic role with Andretti Global and focus less on the operational side of the race team, Andretti Global said. Michael and Dan Tauris have been working closely on developing this new structure, one which Michael is excited to see take shape under Dan's guidance. Michael remains engaged and will continue to serve as a strategic advisor and key ambassador. We'll have more to share in the coming weeks after Michael and Dan have had an opportunity to speak to the team. So Dan Tauris, of course, with Cambridge and with Group 101 or 1001.
1001, which is the same. It's an insurance company. The problem is when the guy who foots the bill, as my dad always says, the guy who has the goal makes the rules. Yeah. And it's kind of true.
It's called the golden rule.
It is called the golden rule. And there's a reason for that. And so the point is he had ensconced himself within Andretti Global and has done for many years now. And there are other drivers like Marcus Ericsson as well. I mean, they are big now. They also sponsor Indy events. So... and I think they're obviously gung-ho. They're the money again behind the Formula One project. So
and behind Colton Herta,
et cetera, et cetera. So there was rumors of Colton Herta would arrive in Formula One with 30 million in his back pocket from Troas, from Cambridge.
Yep.
So that leaves Michael kind of I mean, as a CEO, as he's even the owner with the name. You don't really have a lot of room in the boardroom when that's the situation.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of kowtow to the guy paying for it, bankrolling it all.
But I actually like that. I don't think this makes it a lesser opportunity for them to do things, including go to Formula One, because I think if you can find the right people to run the operation and have Michael with the Andretti name being the strategic guy behind this and having other meetings and not missing emails.
Well, I was about to say, can I put out a vicious theory, rumor?
Absolutely, that's what we do.
We might need another headline thing. Could it be that the whole Formula One thing, the Andrettis, Michael and Mario, with going to Congress and now with them, looking into the monopolies, not the monopolies, but they went to Congress and said, that this was unfairly treating the Andrettis and all the rest of it. And that Formula One, if you remember, we heard at Miami not over my dead body, but I'll never get you'll never get into Formula One while I'm here, was heard from Maffei, right?
Yeah.
So could this be a technical move to say, okay, you're not dealing with the Andrettis now. Yes, it's called Andretti Global, but you're dealing with me, a very wealthy man who has a lot of money and wants to be in Formula One with GM.
I think that's a very reasonable rumor to start.
Thank you.
No, but seriously, you're saying, it's It's-
It could be, couldn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
It makes a lot of sense. And I think the
doesn't
Mario
hurt.
thing with Congress was, I thought, a slice too far, because you start involved with the American government in Formula One, which is a British, I mean, well, it's an American company now. But my point is, you know,
It's a British sport still in many ways.
And you know, F1's headquarters are in the UK.
Yeah.
They don't need to be embroiled in a situation with congressmen speaking out on steps in front of news people. That's not what Formula One needs.
Yeah, I never did really like that. Part of me kind of liked it because it was like, all right, we're going to stick it to them no matter what. But I think it probably wasn't.
But
the
I
right
wonder whether
tactic.
there is a little bit of that old school kind of don't treat Formula One that way. We're not
could
not going to
easily
fall
be
for that.
could easily be. So also, in the same story, because it's Andretti Global. In fact, Medlin wrote this article on Racer. I was reading it. It says, just as a side note, Andretti Global is allegedly at the center of another storm with last week's raid of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan
The
Racing
FBI
IndyCar
thing,
team.
yeah. One of their employees, right?
Yep, it says a team by the FBI in relation to a former Andretti Global employee who's allegedly have taken intellectual property from Andretti to RLL.
Yeah, that's an interesting
see-
story. And so the FBI went in there, told everybody to put down their phones and computers, and they said, "Come back after lunch. We're checking this place out."
Yeah, we're going to copy all these hard drives and we'll get back with you. And that's been a couple of weeks. We haven't seen what's happened with that. But
Ooh, it's all going on.
who says it's a 3-week break and nothing's going to happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Andretti story. I still think it's not a negative. If you're from a Formula One perspective, it's not a negative, and from the rest of the team, I don't think it's a negative either.
And just from an even practical view, and I'm sure the same is true for Penske and for Ganassi at that point. And you can see that they're constantly moving around and saying, "Hey, we'll do this, but we won't do that. We'll do an IMSA deal, but we're going to pull out of that." You know, so when you're running 5, 6 major international series in those series, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And it does need Michael to perhaps sit back and go, why are we doing Formula Extreme? Okay. Why am I invested in a V8 team in Australia? Which I am, or he is. What am I trying to do here?
You know, it's what you're saying. Basically, they're going to try to mature the organization a little bit.
Before it gets to the point of bloatedness where they're spending money everywhere.
Yeah, because if you just let pure racers run everything, they're going to be competing in everything and wanting to, be a winner in everyone.
They say you want to get rich in motor racing? Start with millions.